Hey everyone, Kevin here. Now that I've been an instructional designer for so long, and as we discussed numerous times on our podcast, it's becoming increasingly clear to me recently that college just isn't the only path to success anymore. Now, I am not saying that college isn't relevant or isn't needed for many jobs still, but its importance is rapidly fading because of diminishing returns. This is why back in 2022, only 62% of high school graduates actually attended college, which was the lowest number in over 20 years. Sure, some of that can be attributed to students who never came back from the pandemic, but most of it has to do with rising wages and entry level work that has made going to college more and more unappealing. Overall, community college enrollment has dipped 20%, but the demand for credentials and trades has gone up significantly at the same time. Apprenticeships have grown 64% in the last dozen years or so. I might be unemployed at time of recording, but my salary as an ID in less than a year with nothing but a certificate was higher than I ever had as a teacher with a bachelor's, master's, two teaching credentials, and several years worth of experience to boot. And the reason why I started with money in this conversation is that, to run the risk of sounding obvious, college is just too damn expensive now for most people. It's prohibitive, and finding the funds to pay for it is becoming more difficult every single year. College loans are obscenely exploitative now, and without a good salary post university, when will you ever be able to pay it off? So many people are working in positions that won't allow them to pay off those loans until almost retirement age. The idea of borrowing your way through life has rightly become less appealing to younger generations who are already desperately struggling to pay bills. I believe the figure is at somewhere around 60% of the wealth in the entire United States is solely in the hands of baby boomers. And with the rising standard of living, this isn't a good thing for younger generations. People wonder why a lot of younger aged individuals tend to stay living at home longer and longer now. They don't really have much of a choice financially. More importantly, though, let's just be honest. A college degree doesn't necessarily make you more qualified for a job or actually teach you what you need to know to succeed in your career. Something that I think teachers can definitely attest to these days. Even those with the toughest guidelines came out of our degree and credentialing programs with a lot of theory and too little practice. We weren't really prepared for our careers and had to figure out ways to manage things on our own that we should have been taught when we were still at university. Sure, having a degree on your resume is still a good thing and can't exactly hurt you, but for something so expensive that doesn't really prepare you the way it should, and the fact that its meaning gets diluted since everyone else has one too, it's becoming so much less relevant these days, like I said earlier. As a result, you wonder why fewer and fewer people are choosing that option. Even in my last year of teaching, I was the coordinator for a college prep program, and I knew that many of those kids wouldn't actually be going to college, even though it was the goal of the program. And I didn't have any problem with that, because I know it isn't for everyone. We honestly need to stop pushing the narrative that it is, too. That mentality kind of made me a unicorn in that college prep program too, and a number of parents were happy with me for that reason since other teachers in the program were a bit religious in the way they pushed college so aggressively, and that really turned them off. When it comes down to it, the return on investment with college just isn't really worth it for most people these days, and it isn't the sole or even primary path to success that it once was. I'm not using any of my degrees or certifications anymore, and I couldn't even begin to count the loss in time and money spent on obtaining them. Sure, I got a certificate though, and through a university as well for instructional design, but I didn't have to. There are many free, reasonably priced, and asynchronous extension courses I could have explored instead and achieved the same result. The ability to access the internet and all its contained information has opened up so many more possibilities that weren't there before. Technology can be a good thing, guys. What I'm trying to get at here, though, is that there are so many simply better options for most people these days who can end up with healthy and productive lives without ever going to college. I'm proud of my degrees. They're still hanging on the wall right above my computer monitor. But I can be honest and say that after reflecting on it, I may not have gone in the first place if I had known these things back then. College isn't irrelevant, but it's losing its relevance. We've soured on the idea of college in recent years, and I think rightly so. There are just more paths to take now that are perfectly viable, and I tend to encourage people to explore them more than college to save the money and time. But that's just my 2 cents on that whole idea. So, as always, I'm here to help you navigate these things or have conversations to expand on them if you'd like. See you next time.